Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Kombumerri people.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Thursday, February 15. In Squiz Kids Today, time for Taylor Touchdown, Indonesia's great big election, fake Facebook money scams, and the room cleaning robot. That's what's making news, kids style.
The Lowdown.
One of the world's biggest countries is going to the polls. Thousands of Victorians are still in shock after megastorms and bushfires swept the state this week. But the one story that will dominate all others this coming weekend is the arrival on our shores of one Taylor Allison Swift. Now, whether you're a sworn Swiftie or a Taylor hater, the remarkable cultural force that is Tay-Tay cannot be denied. And this weekend, over 3 nights in Melbourne, starting tomorrow, and 4 nights in Sydney the following weekend, the full force of the Swift tsunami is going to be felt around the country. Consider the numbers. Almost 100 million people listen to Taylor Swift on Spotify and Apple alone every single day. The Eras Tour, which she will bring to Australia this weekend, is the biggest selling concert this country, and indeed the world, has ever seen. She will fill the MCG 3 times over, and Accor Stadium in Sydney 4 times over. Each show will run for 3.5 hours, and Tay-Tay will sing 44 songs from her 10 studio albums. Now remember, she's only 34 years old, and she started singing professionally at the age of 14. The concerts in Melbourne and Sydney will attract so many people from interstate that hotels are booked out in both cities, and restaurants are expecting a bumper weekend. And if you thought that Tay-Tay's influence was limited to the world of pop music, consider this. The Super Bowl, in which her fella Travis Kelce played and which she attended in Las Vegas on Monday, attracted the largest TV audience since the first human walked on the moon back in 1969. And sales of Kelce's NFL jersey reported a 400% increase. The Taylor effect. Love her or loathe her, she's a cultural phenomenon, the likes of which you may not see again in your lifetime. So, don't just sit there. Start threading a friendship bracelet already.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in Indonesia, our neighbouring country just to the north of Australia, where the world's biggest single-day election has just taken place. Indonesia has a population of 267 million people, which is a lot when you consider Australia, which is 4 times bigger in terms of country size, only has a population of just under 25 million. Indonesians voted yesterday for who would become their new president. But holding an election in Indonesia is no easy thing to do, not least because there are 18,000 islands that make up Indonesia and over 150 languages spoken across the country. Wowzers. If you're keen to know more about our neighbour, have a listen to the excellent Squiz the World we produced on Indonesia. I've stuck a link to it in your episode notes. 10 minutes of your time and you'll be an instant Indonesian expert. Genius.
Weird science.
Well, look, it's both weird and potentially really excellent science we're talking about today, after researchers in New York have developed a prototype of a robot that, get this, can clean your room. I know, right? Imagine that. Your parents hassle you to clean your room, and you just send a robot to do the dirty work. Brilliant. The scientists took a robotic arm on a set of wheels and armed it with artificial intelligence, or AI, so that it was able to recognise common household items, like dirty clothes, toys, or 10-day-old bananas that your grotty daughter has left in her school bag to rot. Or is that just me? The only catch though, the robot worked better in rooms that were not too cluttered. The less mess there was, the more effective the robot. So that would never work in my Rosie's room. I'm not entirely certain, but I think a family of possums has taken up residence under the pile of dirty clothes in the corner of her room.
Newshounds.
Every Thursday, Squiz-E the Newshound sticks his snout into Squiz Kids HQ to report back on fishy things he's sniffed out on the internet. And this week, his nose is twitching after photos were taken from Queensland Education Minister Di Farmer's Facebook page and used for an online money scam. Imagine opening Facebook and seeing your own face being used in fake posts trying to scam people out of money. Because that's what has happened to the Queensland politician. It comes as Facebook's owner, a company called Meta, last week announced it would be labelling all images on its platforms that have been made by AI or artificial intelligence. And that's because more and more photos that appear online have been created by AI, as in they are not real, like one that's doing the rounds at the moment of a llama on a surfboard. It's another couple of reasons that we should always do as Squiz-E tells us, and that's to stop, think, and check before believing everything we see, read, or hear online. And it's another couple of reasons to make sure your classroom is among the almost 2,000 around the country who have signed up to do our free media literacy podcast series called Newshounds, making sure that you're able to spot mis- and disinformation when you come across it online. Hop onto our website, squizkids.com.au, to find out more.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What is the population of Indonesia? Yeah, well done if you remembered. It is 267 million. Question number 2. In which 2 Australian cities will Taylor Swift play her Eras Tour concerts? Yep, that's right. It's Melbourne and Sydney. Question number 3. In which American city have scientists been working on a room cleaning robot? Well done if you said New York.
Shout-outs.
It's February 15, a birthday for Megan the Stallion, and a birthday also for YouTube, which turns 19 years old today. Seems like it's been with us for a whole lot longer. It's also a special day for these Squiz kids celebrating a birthday today. Victoria from Deebing Heights, Sid and Cameron from Forest Lake, Edwina from Narrabeen, Paolo from Drummoyne, Eloise from Tarragindi, and Dominic from Riverview. And a happy belated birthday to Mabin from Duncraig. And classroom shout-outs today go to Years 3 and 4 with Mrs Christie at Farnborough Road Public School in Unanderra. Class 3-4S with Mrs Standen at Wentworth Falls Public School. Class 5 Faith with Mrs O'Brien at St Agnes Primary School in Port Macquarie. Class 4A with Ms Horton and Mrs Dowling at Laverton College in Melbourne. Class 5-6 KC with Mrs Chalmers at Albury North Public School. And Classes 3-6 with Ms Taylor at Jerilderie Public School. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout out, or if you want a classroom shout out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au or fill out the form on our website. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back tomorrow with the Kids vs Adults Weekly News Quiz. Your chance to prove once and for all who's smarter, kids or adults. I think we all know the answer to that question. And don't forget, if you like what we do, tell your friends. Or even better, chuck us a like or a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's really important to help us grow and continue to do what we do and be able to continue to make it free day after day. A small gesture from you that would be enormously appreciated by us. In the meantime, friends, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.